Yeah, it's going to be a crazy next few weeks. It already has been. November has definitely been, well, I don't want to say definitely. It's been one of the most volatile months of this year. And, certainly probably the biggest capitulation event yet, anyway, for crypto in this bear market. But that leads me to, I want to ask you a little bit about this, Ewok. We talk every now and then as far as different kind of DCA strategies whenever you're trying to get into the market. You have been a big advocate of setting limit orders and things like that. I want to throw three scenarios at you right now for, different people that are involved or want to be involved with the crypto market, especially now that we are here at essentially brand new lows for this year and within possible striking distance. I mean, we're close enough right now that it's like, if you're not in the market at all and you're just sitting on your hands, I would be getting involved in some way. I mean, to me, it's just low enough now where it's like the downside risk compared to the upside reward is just outweighed by the upside reward. But I want to throw a few different scenarios at you as far as different people that could be involved in this market. You tell me what you may do as each one of these people. So let's say if you're what I just mentioned, if you are not in this market at all. Now, this is the minority out of the three categories I'm going to list. Not many people are coming to crypto right now, obviously. This is when everybody is flocked away, and they'll be here in I don't know, midway through 2024 again or something like that. But
yeah,
if you're
when the
not in the
prices
market,
are all going up to all-time highs, and that's when they
yes,
get in. And
yes.
unfortunately, that's backwards. But yes, go ahead. Sorry.
It's the way the world goes round. But yeah, what do you think if you are not involved in the market at all right now? And I just saw a comment from our friend Andrew earlier about how he popped his Hex cherry earlier. So there's an example of somebody who wasn't in at least the Hex ecosystem that now is. So there are people out here like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're sitting there right now with some dry powder, even if it's just a little, and you're like, I want to get into this market, how would you be scaling in? I mean, would you not even be buying anything yet at this point? And I'm not telling you to tell people what to buy necessarily, because I could guess the answer.
Right.
But how methodically do you think you would be getting into the market at this juncture, as we sit here right now, Wednesday, November 23rd? How would you be scaling into the market right now if you weren't in it at all?
If I wasn't in it all and got lucky enough to be part of the really close to the bottom, I think, well, personally, I don't know for sure, but we think the bottom hasn't come yet.
Right.
So if I'm dealing with my own funds, I'm not buying yet. I am setting limit orders. Like I said, I still think one of the best entry points. Not to mention, if you're setting limit orders on a decentralized exchange, you're not paying fees. The the other person is the one that's selling and paying the fees for you. So another added bonus to actually get your price target hit even better. Yes, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to hurt to get in slowly into these areas as long as you save some powder, because we do think it is going to go lower. So just don't do it all at once, or you'll kick yourself when it does go down. It's good to stagger your way in, and at the same time, on the other side of that, it's to stagger your way out. You want to get in and out the same methodology. You stagger your way into a market, and if it's going down, you buy a little more. If it goes down again, you keep buying more. That will guarantee that your average buy-in price keeps getting lower and lower. So when it does go up, you have a lot lower of a price target to hit to break even. And then on your way out, as it goes up to a certain point, once you determine what that is, set some limit orders to get out. And, obviously you want to get your initial investment out and then let the rest of it go, or take, stared profits at different levels. So
Right.
that's what I would be doing.
That's even another conversation for another show. We definitely, and I think we've actually talked about this before, that not really a point doing it in the bear market, but we should have a show kind of dedicated to taking profits and the way to do it, I think, for sure. Because believe it or not, as much as you're hodling out there, it's okay to take profits every now and then,
Sure.
contrary to what some people may say. But yeah, so I agree with you. And I will say firmly that even though I do agree that I don't think we've seen the bottoms yet, I think you have to be getting into this market right now. It's just like I said, the downside risk is just too little compared to the upside reward. There are people out there that are very smart, regardless of whether you agreed with them or disagree with them, that didn't think we'd ever go below 20K BTC again, by the time this bear market rolled around. So
Yeah.
we're there. We're at least halfway between there and what could be the ultimate lows. So to me, I would be wanting to get in. But what would you say to the person who might be the same answer? It would be for me, I think, but is mostly into the market at this point that has some dry powder on the side, that's mostly invested? Would you, because they're already pretty rooted into the market, just say, wait until you feel it's been a mass capitulation? Is there a certain price target you would wait for? Or something that I see some people say a lot too, this is more from the trader side of things, and I think that there is merit to this. Instead of trying to catch a falling knife, why not wait for a trend reversal? Like wait until now. You may be waiting deep into 2023 or so, or at least a bit of a ways into it. But why not wait until we have confirmation that suddenly we are beating like the 200 day or 200 week SMA again or something like that, and really looks like we're starting to go on an uptrend and then get into the market? What kind of idea would you have for somebody who's in but still has some dry powder?
Well, I think you could miss the ultimate bottom if you do that. But you're not
Right.
going to, like you said, catch the falling knife and continue to have to buy lower and lower and lower to, bring your average cost down. I don't know. I think, like I said, it's ultimately everybody's different. Like I said, personally, I would still be waiting. I think we're going lower. Many people think we're going lower. How low that is, that's a good question. What if we get to 10K and say, all right, is this it? Then it becomes really interesting. What do you do then?
Right.
Because more events could happen to send it to 7. I think there is, definitely, this person said it here, more red coming for sure. So
Right.
I think it's going to get lower. I think if you're patient and can wait it out, then you're going to get a much better buying opportunity then, especially if we're talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yes.
As far as Hex goes, I don't know how much lower it's going to go, but it could chop around down to 2 cents, I think. But 2 cents, 3 cents, really, what's the big? Not much difference if it gets to $1, other
Right.
than
Yeah.
a what you've got a 50x compared to a 33x. So
Right.
actually, it is a lot when you
It
think
is, yeah.
about it.
I was gonna say it can be impactful because even taking profits on the way up, where it's like, man, if I had a 2 cent order as opposed to a 3 cent order, like that. For those people that maybe just want to like take profits by selling the initial investment or something. For example, when Hex did make a nice pump up to 5 cents there a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
I was waiting to see if it would test 6 because I had a lot of buys at 3. Like, I mean, we've been sitting at 3 and stuff for so long. I was like, oh man, I wonder if I'll get a 2x here, and it didn't quite make it. So yeah, you're right. I mean, like it can be impactful even with that, little bit there to take profits on the way up. But
Yep.
I think the worst position to be, well, I really believe the worst position to be in, and I ran another poll today. We're going to get into Hex in a minute here, and again, the thumbnail of this stream has been, is it time to start really buying Hex seriously? But I had a pull out there today about how many people are in the situation of having no dry powder, basically, and just sitting, having to just sit where they are and watch these prices. And a significant amount of people said that that was the position that they were in. I think it was like 15 to 20% of people. So what about that person? And there isn't, obviously, I think the action to take is nothing. You don't want to be doing anything if somehow you don't have any dry powder to put into this market. And you're just sitting here like, oh my God, like I'm so far down. Really, then it turns into a mental game, and that's a game that a lot of us have been playing the majority of this year. But what about that, Ewok? Like, again, I don't know how many tips there are as far as things to really take action and do. But psychologically, how do you handle continuing to see these prices fall into these areas if you are just sitting there with no dry powder? What do you
I
do?
think there's an easy answer for that.
Mhm.
Get a job.
Yeah.
You
Or
know,
learn how to save money and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
save
Yeah.
money, do something, cut something out of your life where you can put aside some cash.
Right.
Um, you know, there's a bunch of side hustles. There's ways to make money on the internet. There's all kind of
especially
things
now.
out there. Yeah, like you can do tons and tons of things that will generate you, even if it's 100, $200 a month. That could be very impactful
Mhm.
in 5, 7 years. You just never know. But yeah, if you're sitting there beating yourself up because you don't have dry powder, do something about it.
Right.
Otherwise, get out of the market. Like you don't belong here. Otherwise, you're just going to give yourself mental grief that you don't really need.
Right.
So I mean, that's one of there's only two answers: get a job or leave the market.
Right. Right.
So I think it's pretty. That's probably the easiest answer or easiest question of the three situations that you presented to me.
And let it be a lesson too, if you're feeling that and feeling the capitulation right now, to make sure you always have dry powder. It can be really tempting when we get down to these prices just to be like, "Oh, dude, I'm throwing the rest of the bag I have left in." I would always keep something on the side, and if you have to get so deliberate about it that you actually consider it like part of your portfolio, like just have dirty fiat off to the side and say, "Hey, at all times I'm going to have 10%, 5% in fiat just
Yeah,
off
just in
waiting for
case.
opportunities."
You
Yeah.
never know. You never
Mhm.
know what may present itself. You also
Yeah.
never know when you may need it. If you're
Yeah.
investing heavily in the market and your car breaks down, it doesn't hurt. That way you're not putting stuff on credit card that you then have to pay later or whatever it may be.
Right. Well,
So
I wasn't even considering that. To me, it's like, well, I was assuming that this individual, and maybe you're right, maybe this individual is dumber than I assumed, but yeah, you should have at all times, I think, some kind of an emergency fund that's going to cover you for like 3 to 6 months or something like that. You should always obviously have liquid cash somewhere, I think, but
yeah. And
then I think have another account that's your dry powder for crypto.
sure. And something else you can do too is if you speaking of credit cards, if you can find a credit card that gives you 1 or 2% back,
Yeah.
and you're going to pay the bills anyway, pay your bills with the credit card, earn that 1%, 2%, whatever it might be, and put that into crypto. And then
Yeah.
just pay off your credit card every month so you're not paying the interest. But I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can make little bits of money that will in fact, y- you know, turn out great for you in the long run. You just got to be smart about it.
Yeah, and we actually talked about that idea a few weeks ago, the different ways of leveraging credit cards to give yourself more money and more dry
Mhm.
powder. And there is a spoiler alert video coming out on the Broke Boy Crypto YouTube channel here in a few weeks about said topic. So,
Nice.
yeah, an underrated way I think to build up some dry powder on the side. So,
Yeah. Awesome.
um, yeah, so those are kind of just three scenarios I wanted to go over because we are at prices where it's like, you want to be buying obviously right now. So have restraint, even if you do have dry powder on the side. Um, to me, this all comes down to really knowing yourself, knowing your emotions, your psychology, and how you think you're going to react to all this. If I hadn't DCA'd here and there over the last 2 months or so, which is really, I think, when mine kind of ratcheted up a little bit, um, I would feel like, well, maybe now I wouldn't feel so bad because now we're like at brand new lows. But I at times would have felt like, what do I do here? Like I got to be getting into this market. So just know yourself. Just know how you're going to react. And something that I have also learned is I really do hate the thing we just talked about a moment ago, not having that dry powder on the side to take advantage of these little things that can pop up here and there. So for me, it takes a lot of restraint from me. Like when we start to go back up into an uptrend, I I am gonna feel like, I want all my dry powder spent at that point, and then there's gonna be like another dip down that I won't be able to take advantage of. So you just have to know like your own psychology when it comes to this kind of stuff, I think. So
Yep, for sure.